JobKeeper and JobSeeker put a floor under the fall in consumer confidence back in March. And we have now recovered that lost ground in consumer confidence, both the Westpac and on the ANZ indices.
The research tells us that after significant disasters, some members of the community will experience post-traumatic illnesses or depression. That makes early intervention essential if we are to protect the mental health of all Australians.
We shouldn't always need an economic indicator to justify social action, but in this case, all the economic indicators show that if you actually invest, you will get a positive economic return, not just a social return.
The way how we as patients individually will kind of be looked after and will look after ourselves, supported by digital means, will become very, very different from how we are experiencing it today.
The primary group of people we're trying to represent here are people who either have found themselves without a job or are in jeopardy of losing a job because of the extraordinary circumstances we've been into. So what is the best solution to that? Things, policies, changes to skill settings, which is outside our working group, but nevertheless a focus of government that can create job growth. So it's a very hard thing to represent 1.6 million unemployed people and millions of people whose jobs are in jeopardy because of the extraordinary circumstances.
The 6 main points are firstly our infrastructure pipeline, which is a key driver of jobs and a demonstrated area of leadership for New South Wales. Our planning and precincts are really important for us to not only accelerate our planning processes but also develop those key precincts.
This last 3 months has clearly been the most productive period for the Federation in recent times. The challenge now is how we can harness this spirit of cooperation over the next few years.
Regulation looks much less like the technocratic solutions that I think people are reaching for, and much more about a process for social license, an amplification of the voice of the most vulnerable and dispossessed in this conversation. Those are the hallmarks, I think, of the process by which we ought to regulate this technology.
Authorities around the world, governments around the world have therefore had to provide support for their economies. And to do that, they've used the monetary and fiscal tools, and they've used them in great quantity.
You know, we should not need a crisis to drive us to be more innovative and agile. And that's the thing I am concerned about, is that, you know, I think there's a growing level of complacency.